I'm Martha Brumbaugh. And
I'm Debbie Flickinger. I was on mute. Sorry about that. So today we're here to have a conversation about the emergence of integral consciousness and the miracles that weave together Caritas process number 10 and cross-cultural shamanic practice.
so the expected outcome for today, is from our dialogue, will bring about a heightened sense of consciousness through an ever-expanding view of the web of sustainability and caring practices. You know by now that Debbie and I both did our doctorates at the California Institute of Integral Studies.
And I have a concentration, I did my work in transformative studies with a concentration in consciousness studies.
And I did mine a long time ago in transformative learning and change in human systems. So before we go further into the heart of the conversation, let's all tap into our own hearts and become open to miracles with a brief meditation. Debbie?
Thank you, Martha. Please put everything down and find the most relaxed position that you find in your chair. Close your eyes and take a deep breath to release all the stress and tension that you feel in your body. Let go of everything and take in another breath to feel the energy of Mother Earth running through your body. Now, breathe in peace. Breathe out chaos. Breathe in balance. Breathe out disparity. Breathe in harmony. Breathe out turmoil. Breathe in peace, balance, and harmony. Breathe out anything that is holding you back from the willingness to be fully present. Take time to slowly come back into our space, re-energized and ready to participate.
Oh, thanks, Debbie. That was wonderful, especially in the middle of the day. Would you give us a brief definition of, or a brief interpretation of consciousness?
Would love to. As we know, or as we're learning, there are a lot of definitions for consciousness. But really, I like Dr. Leslie Allen Combs' definition from his book, Consciousness Explained Better. He stated, consciousness is the background or simply the ground of all experience. And that quote for me, my takeaway is, this doesn't matter who you are, where you are, human or non-human. Everything has consciousness and is interconnected and interdependent.
Aha, systems thinking, I like that. Now, how is integral consciousness important to your work with caring sustainability?
Great question, Martha. Integral consciousness is a caring consciousness that connects self, others, and nature with the design outcome of balance and harmony. That's the way I think about caring sustainability and my work. I believe myself to be a scholar of integral consciousness because my doctorate from CIIS is in transformative studies. with a concentration in consciousness studies. My master's is in consciousness and transformative studies from John F. Kennedy University. Integral consciousness was brought to the forefront by Sri Aurobindo, and I hope I'm saying his name right. It's not one that I say all the time, and Jean Gebser. And therefore, I need to acknowledge them and the many others that have contributed to that field. Moreover, Martha, when we are open to mystery, as in Caritas principle number 10, we can redirect our course and deepen our understanding of how the universe works and the role we as individuals play a part in creating our reality within living systems and conscious awareness. Martha, with that said, how does cross-cultural shamanism intersect with integral consciousness? And my second question, why do the drum and rattle play such important roles in your work?
Those are great questions. Thanks. So, in the time given, let me say that cross-cultural shamanism is eclectic, coming from many practices, many peoples, and many continents. The word shaman, to me, is synonymous with healer and witch. My practices embody all three. In any case, it's important to remember that the concept is to be able to bend into a very fluid way of being and walking in the world. My teachers were not formally, in any case, scholars. They taught from the place of lived experience. That lived experience raises one's consciousness. So like Debbie's Carrying Sustainability, cross-cultural shamanism strives to reconnect self, others, and nature. In my work, the shamanic journey is an example of a closer relationship with higher states of consciousness. For me, it's the drum that is the heartbeat of the earth and our connection with our bodies and to those around us. The rattle comes in and breaks up the blocks that keep us stuck in the head and the body. The healing modalities I engage have the potential to expand consciousness and to weave a web that connects us with mind, body, and spirit. So there's a set of what I call tenets. There are 4 tenets that I gleaned from Angeles Arian years ago, and I teach my students at the edge of Lemuria and in university settings. They are: show up and be present, pay attention to what has truth and meaning, tell the truth without blame or judgment, and be open to outcome and not attached to outcome. And a key to that, which I love, is that you can tell if you're attached to something if you lose your sense of humor. So these 4 guidelines, or these 4 ideas, act as guidelines for all the work I do and for the way I try to live my life. Debbie, would you talk about Jean Watson and the Caritas principles that intersect with the work of Angeles Arian and with my own work?
Gladly, Martha. But first, I want to say I'm reminded about Dr. Combs in his book, Consciousness Explained Better, where he stated integral consciousness can mean a number of things, each correct in its own way, as you and I have discussed. So thanks. Years ago, Jean Watson developed 10 Caritas principles. Over the years, they have evolved into processes. These processes were initially a nursing discipline. I've taken them into my classes, as you've heard earlier, in education, social justice, sustainability, and engaging difference. Actually, you heard about that in the introduction to us. There are 4 of them that intersect with Angeles Arian's work. They are create a healing environment for the physical and spiritual self, which respects human dignity. Be sensitive to self and others by nurturing individual beliefs and practices. Develop helping, trusting, caring relationships. And the last one is my favorite, Caritas process number 10, which is open to mystery and allow miracles to enter, is integral to everything we do that we're doing here today. Through all the presentations and poster projects today, miracles are coming through. Consciousness is rising, and all of our work is essential to our collective life force. Now, I am very, very close to this Caritas process number 10, but you know what, you all? I really didn't know how close I was until Dr. Jean Watson asked me to contribute a chapter in the book that you'll see in the background. And I lost my mom when I was 15 years old, a really dark time in my life. And so for me, going back, you know, through memory lane, I hope I don't cry right now. I'm trying to keep the tears away. But anyway, to get to the point of this, in the interest of time, writing this chapter was very therapeutic for me because I was able to see how close I am and was to Caritas process number 10. Thank you, Martha.
Sure. Thank you for sharing, Debbie. In keeping with our initial theme today, we have tried to show minimally how internal and external miracles emerge through the Caritas principle or Caritas processes and cross-cultural shamanism. It's as simple as the practice of mingling mind, body, and spirit to create an integral consciousness. So we're going to go on for questions because we have time left. And I would appreciate it if you'd ask the questions rather than putting them in the chat box due to my limited vision. Thanks. Debbie?
Yes, Martha, that makes sense. Thank you all for joining us. We are ever grateful, and we hope that you'll stay around to ask questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much. Yeah, let's try to have a controlled process of some sort here. Why don't we, if you have a question, I tell you what, why don't you type your name in the chat box and then I will call on you and you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Just so we don't have a free-for-all of microphones opening.
Free-for-alls are fun. We can do that.
They can be. And if you can't find the chat, if you haven't found the chat yet, there should be a button on your screen that has the word chat and a little chat bubble type thing on it. It's on the bottom control bar if you're on a computer. You may have to touch the screen if you're on a phone to have it pop up.
On the other hand, there may be no questions.
Yeah, you guys.
Is waving her hand.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I love technology. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so for both of you, but I know maybe it's mostly Martha because you know I know you've done a deep shamanic practice for years and years and years. Do you recognize that? I was going to use it in my talk, but I didn't have time. So I wanted you to talk a little bit, if you would, about the power of the drum and the rattle in raising consciousness and actually healing the soul.
Okay, as I said, it's the heartbeat of that drum that connects you, that is from my point and from my students' viewpoints and yours, that raises the consciousness. Let me say first that the rattle if you're listening, I don't know if this will go over well or not. Listen, close your eyes and listen to the rattle and feel energy breaking up within your body. See if you have more tingling going through yourself. It's very short, but it's a start. And then the drum for the journey and for healing comes in with a heartbeat. And as you do this, your soul connects with almost primal forces and allows you to go deeper into yourself, get out of your body and go into yourself. And with the journey, you can travel. And you can learn things from your spirit guides and teachers. You can learn things from animals. One of the things I have started doing, or I have been doing it for a long time, but one of my emphasis or explorations these days is speaking with animals, either wild or domestic. And the journey has allowed me to go deeply into that, so that now I can do it without the drum. I can do it without a rattle. I just can talk to animals. And sometimes I can just close my eyes and to travel wherever I want to go. And it's that fluidity. I think Jeffrey was talking about getting into the flow of things. And in my practices, it's the fluidity that allows you to travel and to do things that you would not do in ordinary time. I refer to time, especially these days in the time of COVID, things have become very non-rational and very non-linear. And we really forget what day of the week it is or what hour it is. So does that help? Does that answer your question, Alethea?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you recognize the beautiful drum you gave me?
I did. I'd forgotten all about it. I'm so glad you have it.
I do not forget.
There's a question in the chat. It says, I don't have a microphone, but could you say a bit more about your own experiences of miracles?
Okay, so Martha, let me give you, you have a couple of minutes left. There's 3 questions in the chat. The one that you just heard, say more about your own experience of miracles. There's a second question that is, what is the process number 10? And there is a third one that says, can Martha repeat her 4 tenets? I missed number 3. And so you can sort of pick from those.
Okay, Debbie, why don't you
and
talk
give yourself
about,
and try to cut off at right at 40 after.
Okay,
just tell us when to stop, Jeff.
thank you for that great question from the chat. And I'll read you from my chapter in the book. And I saw Caritas principle number 10 as a lens in which to reflect deeply, not only on my current way of thinking about things, but on my childhood and teenage years. I had been left on my own, facing unknown challenges in a complex world, with a feeling of despair and abandonment. I now know that it was allowing miracles to come into my life. Just imagine, I don't wish this on anybody, but at 15, that's a very, it's an odd time of life. Hormones are, doing their best with your body. And so I can only say that it was the miracle number 10 that got me through it. And I think if each one of us stop and think about it, I think we've all allowed some miracles to come in when you think that there is no hope and then there's a miracle. So I hope that answers some of the question in the interest of time.